I thought I finally found the perfect boyfriend. Then I realized he'd been watching me long before we ever met. I, 26F, genuinely thought I had gotten lucky. I met my boyfriend Ethan, 28M, about 8 months ago at a bookstore cafe. It felt natural, like one of those meet-cute moments. We reached for the same book, laughed, started talking, exchanged numbers. Nothing felt forced. If anything, he felt too perfect. He remembered everything I said. My favorite drink, my work schedule, little details about my childhood stories. At first, I thought it was sweet, thoughtful. Now I know better. It started with small things that didn't quite sit right. He'd text me things like, made it home safe, which sounds normal, except sometimes I hadn't even told him I was out. Or, rough day at work? On days I hadn't mentioned work at all, I'd ask how he knew and he'd just shrug it off like, lucky guess. I ignored it. I wanted to ignore it, because everything else was good. Until one night. I was at home scrolling through my camera roll trying to find an old picture when I noticed something weird in my apartment. A plant on my windowsill looked slightly moved, not dramatic, just enough that I paused, and then I got this really uncomfortable feeling, like I wasn't as alone as I thought. I brushed it off at the time, but that feeling didn't go away. A few days later, I was at Ethan's apartment for the first time. We'd always hung out at mine or in public, so this was new. Everything seemed normal, clean, minimal, kind of impersonal, until I went into his bedroom. He stepped out to take a call, and I was just looking around when I noticed a drawer slightly open. And inside? Photos. Printed photos of me. Not ones from my social media. I'm talking me walking into my apartment building, me at a cafe I go to alone, me carrying groceries, photos I never posed for, photos I didn't even know existed. My heart dropped so fast I felt dizzy. I didn't even have time to process it before he walked back in, and he saw that I saw. We just stood there. Silence. Then he says, way too calmly, I was wondering when you'd find those. Not denial, not panic, just acceptance. I asked the only thing my brain could form. How long? And he goes, about a year before we met. A year. He tells me he used to see me around, same coffee shop, same street, and became interested. Started noticing my routine, started following me, taking pictures, learning things about me. Then one day he accidentally ran into me at the bookstore. That moment I thought was fate, completely planned. Everything after that, carefully constructed. The things he remembered, he already knew. I felt sick. I asked him why, and he said something I will never forget. Because I knew you were perfect for me. I just needed the right way in. That's when fear really hit. Not confusion, not heartbreak. Fear. Because this wasn't someone who snapped or made a mistake. This was someone who planned, watched, waited. So I did the only thing I could think of. I said, I need some air. Grabbed my bag, and walked out as calmly as possible. Didn't run, didn't argue, just left. The second I was outside, I called a friend and then the police. I didn't go back to my apartment alone that night. Long story short, I filed a report, changed my locks, stayed with a friend for a while, blocked him everywhere. And yeah, those photos, not illegal on their own in public spaces, but combined with everything else, it was enough to take it seriously. The part that messes with me the most? For 8 months, I thought I was building something real with someone who just got me. Turns out, he didn't get me. He studied me. Moral of the story. If someone seems to know everything about you too early, it's not always because you're meant to be. Sometimes it's because they were watching long before you knew they existed. Karma.